Mihawk, Shanks. Two unbelievably powerful characters, two legendary figures, two inspiring mentors. But who is the strongest? Who stands at the top? Recent chapters have reignited the flames of this heated discussion, but at some point you have to ask the question, if this debate is even worth having. I mean, isn't the answer to the question, well, obvious? Let's get down to the facts. The nitty-gritty, lay down some reality for both of these characters. Let's get right to it. First, Mihawk and Shanks are both stated to have subscribed to the blank face because even they know free content is the real king, especially when that content is top tier. They also spam that like button. So be like your fellow gods of the sword and hit that like button and subscribe to the blank face. Alright, enough of that. Let's lay down some additional real facts. Mihawk doesn't have feats, and Shanks doesn't have feats. They both have implied feats, certainly, and databook entries that give hints of their strength. And don't worry, I'll explain all their implied feats. I'll start with Shanks because Shanks has been in the series way more than Mihawk, and that's saying something because Shanks has barely been in the series. So imagine how much Mihawk has been in the series. Also, Mihawk needs way more knowledge of the lore on One Piece to somewhat accurately power scale him, and even then, it's still a mixed bag. But first, let's talk about Shanks' implied feats. Number 1, stopping the war at Marineford. A lot of people use this for power scaling Shanks, but what did he actually do? It wasn't until later that we saw Shanks appear before the Gorosei and change the entire meaning of this encounter, because Sengoku did specifically say, because it's you, he would end the war. That just asks the question, who the is Shanks? Second implied feat, he stopped Kaido from heading to Marineford, but Shanks is as much a diplomat as he is a fighter, so maybe they fought, maybe they didn't. Maybe he just gave Kaido some good booze. Who knows? They likely didn't fight because Shanks and his crew came to Marineford with 0 injuries, and there's no way a fight between two Yonko ends in 0 injuries. But take it as you will. Number 3, Shanks making Green Bull run away. Come on. We know it was a promotion for Film Red. Let's not act like it wasn't. Look, I love it because I love Shanks. I love the fact that he was able to make an Admiral run away. It was one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in One Piece. It's certainly confirmed that Shanks has insane Conqueror's Haki, and that's not implied. His Conqueror's Haki is literally insane. However, logically, even Green Bull would be a complete fool to fight 3 Yonko level captains, their crews, the samurai, a confirmed Yonko just outside the borders of Wano, and his crew. Of course Green Bull would dip. Who wouldn't? I will add that I don't think for a second, even with a 1v1, Green Bull had any chance of actually defeating Shanks. So yes, he left. And number 4. I haven't seen Film Red, but I did hear Shanks does something in the movie, but I haven't seen it myself, so I can't talk about it. But I do know it's a movie, so it may or may not be canon. We'll see. I don't know, so I'm not gonna really use that as a feat. Okay, now, enough of Shanks' implied feats. Let's talk about Mihawk. Number 1, Mihawk's by himself. Yeah, as unimpressive as that is, it's very impressive with what we know about the world of One Piece. We know that to remain in the New World, you either join or ally with one of the 4 emperors, be one of the 4 emperors, ally with other strong pirates trying to take down the 4 emperors, or you join the Marines. But to just float around among the waves by your lonesome, it implies that Mihawk is insanely strong. And we don't know for how long he was just by himself until the Marines recruited him in the Shishibukai. We really don't know. After that, there's nothing. Mihawk has no other implied feats or any kind of feats after that. He's really kind of a blank canvas here. So let's discuss what we do know. And again, that's not much. It's not much for both characters. But let's start with Mihawk. First is his bounty. Recently revealed, it's the greatest indicator of his strength. Mihawk's bounty is a ridiculous 3,590,000,000 berries, almost solely because of his strength. Actually, I think it is solely because of his strength, because Brand New says it's fitting for the world's greatest swordsman, which means they gave him that bounty because of his skill with the sword, not necessarily because he was known as the Marine Hunter. And let's talk about that for a second. Not that he's a Marine Hunter, that he's the world's greatest swordsman. Mihawk has a title only 3 other individuals have held. the world's strongest. If we look at the strength of the world's strongest man, Whitebeard, and the world's strongest creature, Kaido, both are Yonko, and both are unreasonably powerful. Just one of them took on the majority of the Marines with his crew and allies, and the other took a combined force of 5 supernova, 3 supernova crews, the Minks, and the Samurai to bring him down. The title of the world's strongest should not be taken lightly. Okay, I admit that this next point technically is an implied feat, but Mihawk may be the most powerful user of observation haki, as according to the Vivre card, Mihawk's original epithet was to be clairvoyant, not Hawkeye. I think a pretty good change on Oda's part because clairvoyant Mihawk doesn't sound near as cool as Hawkeye Mihawk. But a clairvoyant is a person who claims to have a supernatural ability to perceive events in the future or beyond normal sensory contact. Simply put, future sight. Also, Mihawk having unbelievable future sight would explain one of Shanks' abilities. Lastly, Mihawk possesses Yoru, a Saijo Wazumono, bearing a black blade. Now, we don't know what all that entails, but we know only one other confirmed character has been able to forge a black blade, the sword god, or god of the blade, Ryuma. And he was also the greatest swordsman of his time, so I'm sure Mihawk's black blade has something to do with his level of swordsmanship, but we'll see. Now, onto the man with the mane of red hair, Shanks. Shanks is a Yonko, number 1. Now, I know Buggy kind of muddies the title a bit, but we know from last week's chapter that he's not really a Yonko. It's really Crocodile and Mihawk. But Shanks being a Yonko is a testament to his power and influence because only 4 pirates seem to be able to hold the title at a time. And I know that Yonko means 4 emperors, but it seems that no matter how strong a character is or how powerful a character is, take Law and Kid, they're not going to be labeled one of the Yonko. Also, Shanks is the greatest user of Conqueror's Haki we have ever seen. No one seems to be at Shanks' level. We can assume that a prime Whitebeard, Roger, maybe Rox, probably had comparable ability, but so far only Shanks has shown the skill he's shown with Conqueror's Haki. It's ridiculous. He uses Conqueror's Haki to control his aura and stop his opponents from using Future Sight, giving him the title Observation Haki Killer. And when you really think about it, he really probably did gain this ability during his duels with Mihawk. He probably got so fed up and tired of Mihawk reading his attacks that he was like, I'm ending it, and just found a way to end Future Sight. Kind of crazy when you think about it. Also, his sword Griffin, because both of them, both Mihawk and Shanks have unique swords. Mihawk's is a black blade and Griffin is a flaming sword. Whether that's by Shanks' ability or the ability of the sword itself is not really known, but the ability may indicate that Griffin is a Meito of the highest grade. So, what's the conclusion? In a direct fight, 1v1, we have to assume Mihawk wins. Mihawk is the stronger of the two because Shanks is a confirmed swordsman. He uses a sword in battle. At no point have we seen him engage a powerful enemy without drawing his sword. Not Whitebeard, not Akainu. Except for the Conqueror's Haki burst he sent to Green Bull, but that's a special case. Now, do you believe that Shanks can defeat Mihawk without Griffin while Mihawk uses Yoru? Come on, guys. He can't. The fact that Shanks fought against Mihawk and probably cut off his ability to use Future Sight with his observation killing and still lost to Mihawk implies how powerful Mihawk actually is. Or maybe Shanks couldn't turn off Mihawk's Future Sight. Either way, it's a testament of Mihawk's strength. Here's the reality. Mihawk is a stronger swordsman and fighter than Shanks, but the margin of difference is not that vast. There's a reason why Mihawk always looked for Shanks to fight, because Shanks was his equal for the most part. I'm positive that in the past, at some point during Shanks and Mihawk's many duels, Mihawk lost to Shanks. Mihawk probably just won the majority of the fights. But does that make Mihawk the strongest? If we look at 2 equally legendary pirates, Gold D. Roger and Whitebeard, Whitebeard was the stronger of the two. Whitebeard took the title of the world's strongest man, but Roger was the greater and therefore stronger because Roger had the greater dream and greater ambition. Roger was the one recognized as the king of the pirates. All the pirates, including Whitebeard. The greatest power in the sea is not the sword. It's not your individual strength. It's the ability to turn those around you into allies, into nakama. Battles in One Piece are hardly ever true 1v1s. It's why Mihawk wanted to fight Vista somewhere else, because they were in a war. You're gonna have many clashes aside from just the person you want to fight. Even when he wanted to test Whitebeard, Jozu interfered. As I said in my Conquerors vs. Conquerors video, Luffy's strength is in him carrying the will of those around him. Shanks, it seems, carries the will of his crew. It's why they follow him. Mihawk, for the longest, has been an island all to himself. Even with the creation of Cross Guild, he's still somewhat of a loner in the group. So, what's my take? Although I believe Mihawk to be the strongest in terms of power, Shanks is certainly the greater of the two, and therefore the stronger of the two characters. While Mihawk stands above all swordsmen, Shanks stands above Mihawk among the pirates. I've been the Blank Face, and I'll see you in the next one.